Bernie Sanders released his 420 plan at 4:20 p.m. Also, apparently, with 69 days left in the year. No, that one is a little less important, but I do find it kind of hilarious that Bernie Sanders, right here, released his 420 plan, obviously talking about legalizing marijuana, at 4:20 p.m. So I'm going to read through a bit of this because there's a lot of details here that's kind of hard to explain without actually quoting Vox here. But basically, Sanders vows to legalize marijuana through executive action and address some concerns about legalization too. So he also mentioned this on the Joe Rogan podcast. So when he was on Joe Rogan's show, he also mentioned, I think it was the first time he said it publicly that I heard anyways, that he would legalize marijuana through executive action. So this is the plan is now, I guess, down on paper. So, and the fact that he released it at 4:20 p.m. is just beautiful. I mean, yeah. I'm not even sure what it actually says or does. It shows that the campaign is, they know what's going on. Let me read a bit of this here. So the proposal is among the most ambitious from one of the Democratic presidential candidates. It would move to legalize marijuana within 100 days through executive action, but it would also address the potential downsides and criticisms of how several states have legalized marijuana so far by trying to limit the size and scope of the marijuana industry and taking several steps to ensure that communities of color benefit from legalization while potential bad actors such as tobacco companies do not. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody else. This is how you legalize marijuana. We screwed up in Canada. Our legalization did not ensure these things. This is how you should legalize it. So first, he would sign an executive order directing the Attorney General to declassify marijuana as a controlled substance, removing it from the drug scheduling system and effectively legalizing weed at the federal level. Sanders would then push Congress to pass a bill to ensure permanent legalization of marijuana. After it's legalized at the federal level, states would also still need to legalize within their own borders. Although 11 states and D.C. have legalized marijuana, the drug remains illegal at the federal level, which imposes all sorts of barriers on state legal marijuana businesses. For example, they must function as cash-only enterprises. So if you don't know this, I mean, this is one of the big risks of running a marijuana business in the U.S. is because of the restrictions on them when it comes to banking. A lot of these places have like tons of cash and is an easy target for criminals. So this would obviously help to solve that, since many banks are nervous about dealing with the businesses that are essentially breaking federal law. The businesses also can't file for several deductions, and as a result, their effective income tax rates can soar to as high as 90% or more. Marijuana's classification in the drug scheduling system is also a basis for other restrictions on it, although federal penalties for marijuana are typically more lenient than they are for other drugs. Separately, the Sanders administration would push state and federal authorities to expunge past convictions for marijuana, also something Canada did not do when we legalized marijuana. As noted in Sanders' criminal justice reform plan, he would also set up an independent clemency board to grant those with federal convictions on early relief, and he would move to eliminate barriers to public benefits for people who have interacted with the criminal justice system. Sanders also promises to use new tax revenue from legal marijuana to create a $20 billion grant program for entrepreneurs of color who continue to face discrimination in access to capital, and another $10 billion grant program for businesses that are at least 51% owned or controlled by those in disproportionately impacted areas or individuals who have been arrested for or convicted of marijuana offenses. I mean, this is how you do it. Like, they've thought of everything. No campaign comes close to this. He also vows to create support for the formerly incarcerated, a $10 billion grant program to help disproportionately impacted areas and individuals who have been arrested for or convicted of marijuana offenses, start urban and rural farms and urban and rural marijuana growing operations, and a $10 billion development fund to provide grants to communities hit hardest by the war on drugs. I don't want to read all this, but let me just get to the final. I think this is the final piece here. Finally, Sanders would try to prevent marijuana businesses from turning into an into an analog of big tobacco, a major concern even among some supporters of legalization. Yep, including myself. He would financially incentivize marijuana businesses to be nonprofits, prohibit products and labels that target young people, ban tobacco companies, hell yeah, as well as other companies that make cancer-causing products or are guilty of deceptive marketing. From the pot industry, set market share and franchise caps, and establish federal regulation for the safety of cannabis products. So this is the full thing. I mean, this is how you legalize marijuana. You think about the people that were affected, the communities that were affected. You help to bring them into the business, ensure that they are represented, ensure that if people that have been convicted, their records are expunged. I mean, this is everything, all encompassing. This is how you legalize it, and they released this at 4:20 p.m. So, I mean, if this is your issue, and it is the issue for a lot of people, though it shouldn't be your most important issue, but it's up to you. Then this is your candidate. That's it.